Thomas Wolsey is a fascinating character. And Thomas Wolsey would not have risen to prominence under Henry VII because the qualities that Thomas Wolsey had, Henry VII had, so he didn't need a Wolsey. But Henry needed a Wolsey because Henry didn't want to spend his time organising things. He wasn't really interested in paperwork. And so Wolsey rises to such prominence that his name is the Alter Rex, the alternative king. And he really is at one point that powerful. So we have to try and understand why. There are various reasons for this. Wolsey is a great schmoozer. He's a great networker. He's very personable. He really gets on with people. And so he has this job in 1509 of being the royal almoner. He's the person who sort of hands out money to the poor from Henry's palace. And that allows Wolsey the opportunity of coming into close contact with Henry and being able to develop a personal relationship. Wolsey also rises to prominence because he's got amazing organisational skills. He's very, very good at getting things done. And we see this very early on in Henry's reign. Henry wanted to be a warrior king. He wanted to fight the French. Some of his early advisors, who were his dad's advisors, kind of blocked this really. And Wolsey went against that, and Wolsey facilitated Henry being able to fight a war against the French. And he sorted it all out. He sorted out a military campaign. And Henry would have absolutely loved this. He would have thought that was absolutely fantastic. At the same time, Wolsey is an incredibly intelligent man. He's got his degree when he's about 15 or 16 years of age, so the age of a year 11 pupil. So he's super intelligent. He's also incredibly hard-working. There are stories of Wolsey working for 12 hours a day on Henry's behalf without even having a toilet break. And Henry would have loved these qualities, the qualities of intelligence, the qualities of hard work, because they allowed Henry to rule in the way that he wanted to rule. In terms of the more important of those qualities and the more important of the roles, it's interesting. Obviously, his early position as a royal almoner puts Wolsey in a position where he can develop that relationship with Henry, and he's able to do that, and he has the social skills to be able to do that. At the same time, you know, Henry's main aim early on in his reign was to be a warrior king like Henry V. His dad had taken the crown of England by force, and so obviously he wants to live up to that. And therefore, if Wolsey is facilitating a military campaign in France, then I think that's probably the main reason why Wolsey really rises to prominence. Other aspects you shouldn't rule out, which are important. He's an opportunist. He understands that there is an opportunity for him to do very well. He recognises that Henry needs him, and so Wolsey is great at seizing the main chance. And I think Wolsey probably understands that Henry needs him almost, I suppose, emotionally. Henry is 20 years younger than Wolsey. Henry's older brother is dead. Henry's dad is dead. And you've got this older male figure in Henry's life who can give him guidance, who certainly early on Henry trusts. And I think Wolsey is clever enough to be able to understand that he's in a unique position that he can take advantage of. So the GCSE questions you could get on Wolsey, one would be an explain question. Explain why Wolsey rose to power, and you might be given factors or roles such as his job as a royal almoner and the military campaign in France. And what the examiner wants you to do is to understand that that job as the royal almoner drew upon Wolsey's brilliant interpersonal skills, his ability to network, and it wants you to explain how Wolsey's brilliant organisational skills helped him rise to power because he was able to give Henry the military campaign that Henry so wanted. And then you'd be expected to bring in a third factor, and a third factor can easily be, you can combine two almost. You can combine his intelligence, the fact that he's got a degree at the age of 16, and his incredible capacity for hard work, that he once worked 12 hours a day without even a toilet break. You will also get maybe an evaluation question, such as the main reason why Wolsey rose to power was his job as a royal almoner. How far do you agree? So that's a question where you explore two sides. On the one hand, I do agree because, and explain how being a royal almoner helped Wolsey rise to prominence, but then say, whilst that helped Wolsey rise to prominence, actually in terms of Henry, the thing that cemented Wolsey's relationship with Henry was probably him facilitating the military campaign because Henry wanted to be that warrior king. And then you also need to bring in another factor, and the other factor would be his intelligence and hard work, which would suggest that being a royal almoner is not the main reason. And then you have to do a conclusion as well. So those are the two typical questions that you get for Wolsey.